And so um, then we get this scene where she's sitting in her bed. She's laying up, watching her stars, and she starts to pray, but then all of a sudden that anxiety gets right in her face and tells her, like, come on, let's be together now. Let's morph into one. And then she tells her, let's replay all the mistakes you made today. But now she's actually doing it and she's replaying all of those
Correct.
things while in the bed. Um, what is it about being in your bed, trying to sleep, and then all of a sudden, like you just think back of all the, especially if you've done something where it was really traumatizing or anything, or even if it's in the
Small things.
past,
Oh, small
you can
anything.
even
Yeah.
you can think of anything in the past where you're just like, what the fuck? What, like just cringy moments that you've had in your life. What is it about you trying to go to bed and then all of a sudden all this flood of like just everything just comes and gets you? What is
I would love for folks to answer in the comments on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. What do you have this issue? And also, what do you think that is? Um, I really do feel like it's one of those few times during the day where you're not inundated with stimuli. So your computer, telephone, social media, video games, homework, work. And so you're finally like, I'm gonna lay down. Brah. It's like everything finally, you're finally able to be mindful in the moment and to feel and to process. And normally it's the scary stuff that we want to process. Normally it's the things to be better, the things to work on, how we fucked up. So it's our anxiety that wants us to be better. It wants to protect us, right? Just like the Inside Out characters I have. But in actuality, it just overwhelms us and then it makes us obsessive. And then we end up staying up and it messes up our night and our sleep. Then we feel like shit the next day. And then we most likely mess up more the next day because we're too tired. And because we're so tired, we can't slap away anxiety like she did in that first clip. And then eventually starts eating at you, Spence. And she gets so heavy that now it starts to depress you. And now the depression starts to make it where you can't even get up in the day. So the shame and the depression usually are exacerbated by the stress and anxiety. So why is that? I think it's because the stimuli and we can finally sit with our thoughts. I know there's something specifically because I'm not listening to music anymore, Spence, in the car or at my workouts. I'm not like melting down and like having crying spells at the gym because I'm not processing any emotions. Like I'll put on a TV show or a basketball game and it keeps me like distracted and focused on that. But as soon as I put on music, I'll be like, let me feel my feelings. I'm like, oh my God, there's too many of them. Go away.
Yeah.
I've noticed that music. I didn't know that. I haven't listened to really any music in months, like maybe 6-7 months now.
Yeah.
As soon as they come on in the car, like randomly Spotify will kick on. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh.
Why is this so sad? Oh my God. Why is Lucid Dreams on and all this shit? Like, I don't need to hear my boy just start crying.
These are your top 100 songs. They're all sad.
I
like,
know.
No.
I know. But the shows don't do that to me. So I think it's because it forces me to sit in some emotions. Don't get twisted. I still kind of tweak out at night here and there like everybody else. But it's not as bad as it used to be. But for everyone else, it's usually pretty bad because they're so insecure about the choices, what they've done, what they said, how they acted. A lot of my clients right now, Spence, I'm going to actually send her the first episode. After this, I'm going to text her. Well, I might not text her because it'll be like midnight. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, hey, think about you.
Yeah, I know. Like, bitch, get out of here. Pervert. Pedophile.
Jesus Christ.
But I accidentally did text a client at midnight the other day because I was completely disoriented on what time it was. And I was like, fuck. Don't send shit at midnight. But I'm going to send her that first clip because it's so spot on with what she deals with. And so, and she'll listen to the pod too. I know she will. She always does. But it's the way in which we talk to ourselves, in which we're almost disrespectful, Spence, and we're almost withholding of any love or goodness or kindness. We like punish ourselves at night.
Right.
And it's like, well, you know what? I ate too much. or I didn't exercise, or I didn't sleep well, or I fucked up on that exam, or man, that was a cringe thing that I said, or like I said, like the little girly, she thought that one boy was flirting with her, and then he's like, I don't like you, girl. And I write that, how cringe is that? So
Yeah.
we tend to be very negative at nighttime, man. And then it leads in us to withholding any goodness.
Yeah. I think she had like her thing that was good was like her praying and just being like, please get me better, please get me better. But then
It's
anxiety
overpowered.
got in front of that. And so now she's not even thinking about that stuff or even thinking about like her religion anymore. It's more about just like, oh God, what have I done to make myself and maybe even disappointed my father even more? Not just being a bad player, but then also hurting the good player. Like that's pretty tough, man. Like if you're not pulling your weight and then you hurt
The top
the
player.
other, like that's pretty bad, man.
Yep.
That's pretty bad.
Imagine the
especially
panic.
before a championship,
brother.
Wow.
And our dad's like the sweetest guy, so he's not even like a monster, but
No.
let's zone in on that. So a lot of us will hear something, but then we morph it into like this weird demonic or mean or negative. We hear like the worst in what people say sometimes. And they're like, they didn't even mean to say it like that. They didn't say it like that, but you interpreted it horrifically. Because the dad's like, what did you do? Very kindly. And she's like, what did you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not reality. But when you're not living in reality and you're very shameful and you're scared of your dad because you don't want to disappoint him, you're probably going to hear it in a negative way. She sounds like a very much all or nothing girly. She feels like she sucks in everything, so she's just nothing. And so she locks in, gets super obsessive, practices. Reminds me a lot of my clients, Spence, is they grow up with like this, I need to be better when they're young. And then it morphs into like legit perfectionism and OCD, obsessiveness, overworking, burnout, a lot of damaged, insecure children. I'm going to specifically point out a gender. Women will have this where they need to be better. And it's like, no, girl, you're fine. Like you are good. You're doing really good. You don't need to be the best. You don't need to stay up for fucking 14 hours to do this exam. You don't need to starve yourself to make sure that you're the thinnest version of yourself because you think that you're prettier that way. And with a lot of dudes, it's not always how we respond. So I love that we're using the girly in that. I love that we showed the obsessiveness, but she's still not getting better. So I guarantee you she treats herself like shit afterwards. Another small pivot before I forget. The praying thing. I love that you brought this up. We haven't talked about religion in a good way in a while. I have a lot of clients, Spence, that we use religion in therapy in the process. Prayer can be very mindful, can be very meditative. You sit down with yourself, you're being very connected with God. You're paying attention to your breathing. Maybe you have your rosary if you're Catholic, right? And so you're playing with that. Maybe you're going into the church itself or the temple itself. You're going to these places that are very meditative, very calm, very relaxing. A lot of my clients with high anxiety, Spence, that are religious, let's go into church. Let's go to worship because they feel like they're getting that rejuvenative, whatever, force. They're getting that good sauce from God. Why? Because God normally, as long as it ain't, I'm going to just be racist here. Some of them white gods are like super shameful and like horrible and mean and hateful. Most of our gods of color is like, I love you. You're my child. I made you in my image. A very loving and forgiving God. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
It's like, I kill them all. Like shit.
Jesus, you're horrible. You're a sinner. I mean, a lot of the Catholic shit, man. It's just like, you're always going to be horrible. You're a piece of shit. Like, there's just no redemption. It's like, fuck, why do I even try?
Catholic guilt.
Yeah, it's like, I'm about to eat all the apples in this motherfucker. Fuck you. Jesus. What are white women at?
Shout out to Eve.
Shout out to Eve.
Fucking brought us down. Fucking
women
all you had to do was not eat the fucking apple. That's all you had to
you
fucking
did it.
do.
Look what you
and
did.
you did it.
Women
just remember, a white woman made sure we couldn't get into heaven.
Well, in the Bible, it's a white woman. In reality, it had to have been an Arab or an African, but whatever.
I don't know what it is anymore.
That bitch had blue eyes. I'll tell you that.
I'm not saying she white. I'm gonna say she white. She fell for a snake. I'm just saying she white.
How many black people you know eating apples?
how many white women you see talking to snakes? All of them.
All of
All
them,
of
they
them.
all snakes. Take one to know one, you know.
Right.
Jesus, how do we pivot so badly?
I don't
So
know.
religion, we're such idiots. Why do people listen to us? And no, love religion for some of my clients, dude.
Yeah.
Because if they want to be with God, they can't be shitting on God's creation. So I love that she's praying.
Right.
She's doing her best at night to do her rituals, her self-care. She get all up in her bed, cuddled up, and then that little sweat monster, the little demon sits on her. Very, very sad, man. Sometimes even all your coping skills and mechanisms won't help you when that voice just keeps getting heavier, heavier, and heavier. As we get to the next scene, we'll talk more about, her dad and connection. But those moments when you feel like you've let your parents down, my guy, I mean, those are probably the worst moments. The few times I've looked at my father and he's never yelled at me about, well, he's yelled at me about some shit, but he's never yelled at me in like disappointment because of something.
Yeah.
Right. He never hit me, none of those horrible things. Right. But like, motherfucker would look at you when he was disappointed and he was like,
Yeah.
And I'd be like, you ain't even got to say nothing. I know I fucked up.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Check out the full episode on our channel and anywhere you find podcasts. Also, remember to like and subscribe. Whoop whoop.